Let me ask you something. After you hang out with your friends, after the group chat blows up, after the dinner, after the party, do you feel recharged? Or do you feel like you just ran a marathon in emotional quicksand? Because here's the thing nobody talks about. Exhaustion doesn't only come from work. It doesn't only come from bad sleep or a packed schedule. Sometimes the most draining thing in your entire life is the people you call your friends. And if you're watching this video, some part of you already knows that. Some part of you has been sitting with this quiet, guilty feeling, like something is off, but you can't quite name it. You don't want to be ungrateful. You don't want to be dramatic. These are your people, right? But what if they're not filling your cup? They're draining it. Today, we're talking about the 7 signs your social circle is mentally exhausting you. And I promise, by the end of this, you're going to have the language for something you've been feeling for a very long time. Let's get into it. Welcome back, Idol. Or if you're new here, hey, hit that subscribe button because we talk about the real stuff: mental health, relationships, and building a life that actually feels good to live. Now, let's talk about your people. Sign 1. You dread plans instead of looking forward to them. You know that feeling when a concert you've been waiting for is finally coming up and your stomach does a little flip of excitement? That's what seeing your friends should feel like. Not every single time. Life gets busy, we get tired. But as a general baseline, plans with people you love should feel like something you're moving toward, not something you're bracing for. But if your friend group is mentally exhausting you, you'll notice something unsettling. You start dreading the things you used to enjoy. The group dinner gets added to your calendar, and instead of excitement, you feel a low grade anxiety. You start looking for excuses to cancel. You find yourself relieved when plans fall through, and then you feel guilty about being relieved, which is its own special kind of exhausting. This dread isn't about being introverted, and it isn't about being antisocial. It's your nervous system sending you a signal. It's your body saying, "This costs me more than it gives me." That's data. Don't ignore it. Pay attention to the physical sensations too: the tight chest before you walk in, the way your shoulders drop when you get home alone. Your body keeps score long before your brain catches up. Sign 2. You're always the emotional garbage can. Every group has that one person everyone goes to with their problems. And if you're watching a video like this, there's a very good chance that person is you. Being a good listener is a beautiful quality. Showing up for people you love is one of the most meaningful things a human being can do. But there's a crucial difference between being supportive and being someone's full-time emotional landfill. Ask yourself honestly, in your friend group, how often are the conversations about you versus about everyone else? When you bring something up, a hard week, a personal struggle, does the conversation stay on you for more than 90 seconds before pivoting back to them? Or worse, do they immediately one up your problem with their own? Mentally exhausting social circles operate on a fundamentally unequal economy of care. You are expected to give, and they are accustomed to taking. And it often happens so gradually that you don't even notice until you're completely empty. The test is simple. Think about the last 5 meaningful conversations you had with your circle. Who was doing the sharing and who was doing the holding? If the math is wildly lopsided, that's not friendship. That's an unpaid emotional labor contract you never agreed to sign. Sign 3. You edit yourself to fit in. Here's one that hits different. When you're around your social circle, are you fully you? Or are you running a background program, constantly monitoring what you say, how you say it, what opinions you share, what you keep quiet? Healthy relationships don't require you to shrink. They don't require you to perform a curated version of yourself while the real you watches from behind glass. When you're with safe people, you can say the wrong thing, have an unpopular opinion, be in a weird mood, share a dream that sounds ridiculous, and they'll still be there. But exhausting social circles create an invisible pressure to conform. Maybe there are unspoken rules about what's allowed. Maybe someone in the group has strong opinions and a habit of making others feel small for disagreeing. Maybe you've learned, slowly, through a series of small moments, that being authentically yourself leads to tension, eye rolls, or being left out of conversations. So you edit. And editing is exhausting. Think about how much cognitive energy goes into constantly filtering your thoughts before they leave your mouth. You're essentially running two conversations at once, the one you're having and the one you're preventing yourself from having. Authentic connection is the whole point of human relationships. If you can't access that, you're not really connecting, you're performing. And no one can perform forever without burning out. Sign 4, drama follows them everywhere. And it always somehow becomes your problem. Some people are just allergic to peace. You know exactly who I'm talking about. There's always something: a fight with a coworker, a falling out with a family member, a conflict within the group itself, a crisis that needs your immediate attention at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday. The chaos is relentless. And somehow you always end up in the middle of it. Now, life is hard and real crises happen. We all need our people during genuinely difficult times. But there's a difference between someone going through a hard season and someone who is perpetually the epicenter of a storm they keep creating. Chronically dramatic people in your social circle drain you in a very specific way. They keep your nervous system in a constant low level state of alert. You're never fully relaxed because you never know when the next fire is going to start. You check your phone and feel a spike of anxiety when you see their name. You brace yourself before opening the group chat. And if you try to step back from the drama, you often get pulled back in through guilt, obligation, or the fear of being seen as a bad friend. Here's the truth: you are not a crisis management service. You are a human being with your own limited energy. Sustainable friendship is built on mutual peace, not mutual exhaustion. Sign 5. You feel worse about yourself after spending time with them. This one is subtle, and it's one of the most important things to get honest about. How do you feel about yourself after you spend time with your social circle? Not during, after. When you get home, when you close the door, when it's just you and your thoughts. What's the verdict? If your circle is healthy, you should feel seen, appreciated, maybe a little more grounded. You should feel like someone out there genuinely knows you and likes what they know, but mentally exhausting social circles have a way of quietly chipping away at your self-esteem. It might be through constant comparisons. Who's doing better? Who's making more money? Who's further along in life? It might be through jokes that have a bite to them, disguised as teasing but carrying a real sting. It might be through the subtle experience of never quite feeling like enough, not funny enough, not successful enough, not interesting enough. This kind of erosion is hard to trace because it happens in small moments. A comment here, a look there. But over time, you start leaving these hangouts feeling vaguely worse about yourself, and you might not even connect it to them. Pay attention. Your sense of self-worth should not have a hangover. Sign 6. Loyalty is weaponized against you. After everything I've done for you, I thought you were my friend. You've changed. These are the words of a social circle that has turned loyalty into a leash. Genuine loyalty is freely chosen. It's a value you hold because you love someone and want to show up for them. It doesn't need to be enforced, reminded, or guilted into existence. But in an exhausting social circle, loyalty gets weaponized. It becomes a tool for keeping you in line. If you set a boundary, if you say no, if you choose yourself, if you start building a life that looks different from what the group expects, suddenly you're disloyal. Suddenly you're the one with the problem. This dynamic is particularly common in tight-knit groups where group identity has become more important than individual well-being. Leaving, or even just changing, it is treated as a betrayal. The result? You start making decisions based not on what's healthy for you, but on what will keep the peace within the group. You shrink your ambitions. You stay in situations longer than you should. You give more than you have. Because the alternative, the guilt trip, the drama, the accusations, oh, it feels worse. That's not friendship. That's social coercion with a friendly face. Sign 7. Your alone time is about recovering from them, not from life. Here's the one that ties it all together. Everyone needs alone time. Introverts need it to recharge, extroverts need it to decompress. That's normal and healthy. But there's a version of needing alone time that's a red flag. And it's when you specifically need to recover from your friends. Think about it. After a long week, you want to rest That's just life. But if your Sunday is spent on the couch emotionally processing the Saturday night you spent with your circle, if you need a full day to recover from an evening out, if the thought of another social obligation before you've had enough time to rebuild your internal reserves fills you with genuine dread, that's your mind and body telling you that this social situation is costing you more than it's worth. Friendships should add something to your life. They should be a source of joy, laughter, depth, growth. They might challenge you sometimes, healthy relationships do, but they shouldn't be something you need to survive on a regular basis. When your social circle becomes something you recover from instead of something you look forward to, it's time to ask some hard questions about who you're choosing to spend your irreplaceable time and energy with. So, where do you land? Maybe one of those signs resonated. Maybe all seven hit a little close to home. Either way, I want you to hear this. Recognizing that a relationship or an entire social circle is draining you is not betrayal. It's not being selfish, it's being honest. You don't have to burn everything down. This isn't about dramatically cutting everyone off. Sometimes it's about having a real conversation. Sometimes it's about slowly expanding your world to include people who actually refill your cup. Sometimes it's about choosing yourself, quietly and without apology, one small decision at a time. You deserve friendships that feel like rest, not work. If this video made you think of someone specific in your life, or if it made you think of yourself, drop a comment below. Tell me which sign hit hardest. I read every single one of them. And if this was useful, share it with a friend who needs it. The irony is not lost on me, like subscribe and I'll see you in the next one. Take care of yourself. Seriously. Don't forget subscribe, like the video, and turn on notifications.